Hey there, how's it going? Good afternoon. This concludes my 12-day trip through El Salvador. It has been a very good trip. My first time here, I didn't have high expectations. Of course, El Salvador has had a reputation, and not a very good one, over the past number of decades, but things have changed quite a bit. I will get to that more in just a second. So here is my room that is just a 5-minute drive from the airport, the only international airport in El Salvador, which is about a 45-minute drive from San Salvador, the capital. I flew into the airport 12 days ago and made a loop, going first to San Salvador, the largest city and capital of El Salvador, and then to Santa Ana, the second largest city by population in El Salvador. Did some exploring around there, went to the Lake Coatepeque, went to the really cool village of Atico, and then took an Uber from there to the coast, to La Libertad. Stayed there for 2 nights, and then went to El Zonte Beach and stayed there for the past 3 nights. And then, as you saw there at the beginning, I caught a Uber once again from there to here, a little more than an hour's drive for about $33. So a fair price there on the Uber ride. And I took Uber a lot around the country, both within towns and then longer distances several times, and they were all quite reasonably priced. Now, prices in general are a little all over the place in El Salvador, and I'm not exactly sure why things aren't less expensive, especially hotel rooms. $75 for a very basic hotel room. That's like exactly what you would pay at a Motel 6 in like an average town if you weren't in Hawaii or Miami or, you know, somewhere more touristy will be more expensive. But for it to be, you know, American prices, same as in the United States, when El Salvador is, of course, a more developing country, a different standard of living, is a little bit mysterious to me. The explanation that somebody offered in the comments section under one of my videos is that basically there's a big discrepancy between the local prices for things and the tourist prices, because almost all of their tourism is people coming from the United States. So it's either El Salvadorans who live in the United States who are coming back and they're bringing US dollars in that case, or it's, you know, American citizens, people from the United States coming here for vacation, and in that case again they're bringing United States dollars, and so they're used to United States prices, and so that is why a lot of the prices are about the same as the US. Both the hotels and a lot of the restaurants on the beaches are almost exactly the same as US prices. However, there is a big discrepancy in that when you find the real local prices, then they drop down a lot. So as I showed in my videos in San Salvador, then I went to a local restaurant. I had, I think, 2 dishes and 2 beers, and it was like $7. So that is a big difference. You're not going to get even a drink, you know, for $7, or you'd pay like around that for 1 drink in the US, a lot of places. So there's a big gap between the local prices, what Salvadorans are paying and what they can afford based on their incomes, which of course are going to be a lot lower than incomes in the United States, versus what you pay on the beaches, El Zonte, El Tunco, and here right near the airport. Of course, locals aren't going to be going to a hotel right near the airport for any particular reason unless they're flying to the US or whatever. This is a tourist's hotel. As I showed in previous videos, then there was a wide range of hotel prices, including in Santa Ana. I paid like $32, $33 for a perfectly decent room there. So expect to kind of pay mid-range, I would say, for things when you come to El Salvador. If you want to do it much cheaper on a budget, then you can by staying away from the tourist places, only eating at the local places. And if you do go to the beach, then you can stay in dorms, which are like 10, 15 bucks a night or something like that. And so you can do it on a budget, but don't expect it to be as cheap as neighboring countries. For example, Guatemala. I was watching one of my videos recently. Now that was from 9 years ago, so the price of that hotel might have gone up. But I paid $10 for a basic room in Guatemala. So 10 bucks is a big difference from $75, $77. So that is just the way that it is here. For whatever reason, the situation is changing dramatically here in El Salvador in many different ways. And so perhaps in the future then there will be a, sort of shaking out of the prices. If tourism increases, then that could actually bring down prices, having more people coming, more dollars, and then people expecting to have lower prices. Then maybe that will bring down the prices, but I don't know. Maybe it will make the prices go higher if there's more demand. So who knows? But that is the way that it is that you're going to pay a bit more than you would expect for Central America, but you're getting a unique country of seeing, experiencing a different place, different country, different culture compared to the neighboring countries. And for me as a world traveler, it was totally worth it to see this country that I knew very little about, that had a not great reputation, and to see what life was really like here. And it was all around good. 12 days and no problems, never felt unsafe. I took local buses, went to local villages, talked with lots of people, and it was just, an all-around positive experience. It is definitely, as I said, a developing country. Conditions were pretty rough in a lot of places, but I'm kind of used to that as a world traveler. I've seen the similar situation in other countries. So don't expect to come to El Salvador and have it be the same as, Cancun, for example, or, Tulum or Puerto Vallarta, or, certainly not, Hawaii or whatever. The conditions around the country are, pretty rough. But things are changing considerably in terms of the safety situation. And so that is what I want to talk about next. And I'm going to start by showing you something about the crime rates, specifically the murder rates. So this paragraph captures the massive change over just a few years. A total of 154 murders registered in the country of 6.6 million people amounted to a rate of 2.4 per 100,000 inhabitants, down from 495 murders in 2022. So, 2023, 154 murders throughout the country. In 2022, a year earlier, 495. So in 1 year, the murder rate dropped by more than 2/3, down to less than 1/3 of what it had been just 1 year earlier. But it is even better than that, because when Bukele, the president of El Salvador, took power in 2019 elections, the poverty-stricken Central American country had one of the world's highest murder rates at 38 per 100,000 inhabitants. Now here it said in 2023, when it dropped down to 154 murders, that represented a 2.4 per 100,000 inhabitants murder rate. But in 2019, it was 38 per 100,000 inhabitants. From 38 to 2.4. That is a greater than 90% reduction in the murder rate, and you can assume that crime across the board in general would have dropped, equivalently as a result of that murder rate. You get the murderers out of the equation, and they're probably doing other things as well, stealing, etc. And so a more than 90% drop in the crime rate is just massive. That absolutely changes the equation of what it is like for locals and tourists here in the country. Now, that came at a cost, because it was a result of a massive crackdown on the gangs which apparently is, questionable according to human rights advocates and organizations, saying, well, they just, rounded up anyone who might have been vaguely suspected of doing anything and put them all in prison. So in the process, they got the bad people, but they probably got some perfectly good people as well. So, it is what it is. It made a big difference for the country. I'm not going to say, yay, yay, rah, rah, when there could be people sitting in prison who are completely innocent and, they just got swept up in the chaos, association with bad people or who knows what. But it worked, it did the trick, and it has made this country much, much safer for everybody who lives here. So, do I recommend coming to El Salvador? Yes, certainly. If you want to experience somewhere that, is kind of off the radar, non-touristy for now, and an interesting, unique place. It is not Mexico, it is not Guatemala, it is different. Then I certainly recommend it. It is more for the adventurous travelers, but if you just want to experience the beach scene, then as I showed, El Zonte Beach, also called Bitcoin Beach, was just perfect. It was really one of the nicest beach areas that I've been to. The all-around experience, great beach, clean water, almost no garbage around there. Good hotels that were not cheap, $77 as I showed there, but good food, cool restaurants, good vibes, good atmosphere, just kind of the whole package. It was better than a lot of places that I've been to as far as beach destinations go. So I do recommend it. Perhaps I will be back and see more of the country. There is much more to see. But for now, I'm flying out tomorrow, 7:30 in the morning, very early, wake up. So the room price for $75, at least it includes the shuttle to the airport. So tomorrow, 5 a.m., shuttle to the airport, direct flight back to San Francisco, California, $378. It was expensive. It was cheaper coming here, which is actually one of the reasons that I came here at all, was I found that cheap flight to get here. Direct flight. So that is going to do it. More coming from somewhere. I have no idea where I will be going next. Hasta luego.